Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John Perrine, the Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you each and every week by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, visit www.indianasfinest.com. I would like to remind you to visit another website, www.indianatrooper.com. That'll take you to the website for all of our vacant jobs, our hiring standards, all the information you need if you want to become an Indiana State Trooper, or if you want a career inside the Indiana State Police that's not a trooper. All of that can be found on www.indianatrooper.com. Looking forward to this conversation with our next guest is from the Indiana Department of Corrections. She is the Recruitment and Retention Supervisor, Natasha Jones. Welcome to the show, Natasha.
Thank you for having me.
So, and some conversations that we've had recently with some people in the D.O.C., I think the difficulty in hiring people and filling vacancies is stretching through your agency as well, just as we were all feeling. So just kind of talk about some of the efforts that are going into recruiting right now, and how are you trying or looking for these folks to fill those vacant positions?
Well, most recently we had our sales marketing plan, and this initiative is to actually recruit for our most difficult jobs, which is our correctional officer, correctional caseworker, and maintenance. And with the new salary increase up to $22 an hour, this is actually helping bring in more candidates in.
And that's an entry-level salary?
Entry-level salary for those positions.
Wow.
Yes.
Very impressive. So if you're looking for a job, of course, we'll get this right out of the way right now. Where can folks go that are tuned in right now thinking, hey, I want to find a job with the D.O.C.?
Workforindiana.com.
Workforindiana.gov. Okay. And so we often talk about Department of Corrections, and I've heard people say this. It's Department of Corrections, not Department of Incarceration. And so there's a lot of things within DOC outside of being a corrections officer that offer opportunities to folks to truly make a difference and get in and change somebody's lives. So talk about some of the other positions outside of corrections officer that somebody may have the ability to do inside the DOC.
Well, the goal is to actually re-enter the incarcerated individuals back to society. So 90% of them will return back to their respective communities. You have jobs in reentry, correctional casework, programs. There's many opportunities for an entry-level person to take advantage of.
And so you've mentioned that you yourself have done several jobs within Department of Corrections. So what are some of those things that you've done in the last 8 years of your career?
Well, I have started as a correctional officer. I did training, correctional casework, unit team manager, classification specialist, and most recently I'm the Recruitment and Retention Supervisor for the Indiana Department of Correction.
So it's your job to go out and find folks to fill these vacancies.
Yes.
What kind of folks the DOC are looking for when they're trying to fill some of these vacancies?
We're looking for someone that's willing to grow with the Indiana Department of Correction. We're looking for someone with a willing spirit. We do hire individuals at 18 years of age. So the opportunity for advancements are definitely there. Again, I've worked for the Indiana Department of Correction for 8.5 years, and I've had 7 jobs. Not because I didn't like the jobs, because the opportunities were there.
And that's really, really important to somebody who's looking for a career.
Absolutely.
Is opportunity for change, opportunity for advancement. And I would guess that the opportunities within the Department of Corrections is almost endless of what you want to do.
Absolutely. And where else can you say that? So many jobs, yes, they can bring you in with the salary, but are the opportunities there? And one conversation that we've had recently is bridging the gap. A lot of young folks in these communities, they want to be police officers when they grow up. And in the state of Indiana, you have to be 21 to be a police officer. So the interesting thing that I find in Department of Corrections is you will hire at 18 years old. So what a great opportunity, career path to gain some knowledge, some experience in the field, and then transition later in life into the role of a police officer. Absolutely. The opportunity is definitely there. Many people have said, I'm going to use corrections as a stepping stone. And then some people actually feel after the 3 years, they had a goal in mind to go to law enforcement, and we definitely have had many make that transition. But then some might find, correction is definitely for me because my family did it. And you might mainly find in Department of Correction that there's a long lineage of families that work for the Department of Correction.
Yeah, and oftentimes talk about locations of facilities, and when people think of Department of Corrections, they probably think of the bigger facilities that we have throughout the states. But I would venture to guess that anywhere in the state of Indiana, somebody is within an easy commute to one of the facilities if they're looking for a job in any corner of the state.
Absolutely. I actually live close to 3 facilities. They're in a Pendleton compound hub. And then most of the facilities are maybe at the most an hour and 15-minute drive, depending on where you live throughout the state.
Yeah. And so if you're looking for a great opportunity, a great starting pay,
Yes.
Opportunity for advancement, and maybe an easy commute, then check out the website. Is it workforindiana.com?
Workforindiana.gov.
.gov. I'll get that right. Workforindiana.gov. So tell us, what drew you to the Department of Corrections when you were 8 years ago looking for a career and you thought, maybe I'll go apply there? Was it what brought you in?
Well, actually, what brought me in is I had an opportunity to become a social worker. And I believe that every job in the Department of Correction, when you're working inside the facility, we're all social workers. We just may not have the title. So I had the opportunity to become a correctional caseworker, help actually the incarcerated individuals work on a plan to get back home to their families, work on a plan to build those relationships where they were not pro-social when they were on the outside, and just developing a plan that we both agree on, that we're going to hold them accountable. And the opportunity was there for me to do that.
And so do you have any specific or even general stories that you can share about individuals where you've truly seen a change, where from the time that they come to you to the time that they're ready to go back into society, and you're confident that this person is going to be a contributing member of society and they've achieved the correction part of Department of Corrections?
Actually, several stories. So just keeping names out of it, just given situations when I actually have spoken with members that didn't even know how to make their bed. No one in their family has even graduated high school, so they're actually breaking chains, and they're actually being an example. Unfortunately, they had to come to the Department of Correction to make that change, but they were absolutely willing because they had somebody at home waiting on them, looking up to them, their children, their family.
Yeah, and so do you stay in contact with some of those folks to kind of keep track of where they are now or how they've been?
Not at this time, but actually I do see many of them working in restaurants. And so they always say, Miss Jones, do you remember me? And I'm like, yes, I do.
Oh, that's
yes,
great.
Actually, I do.
And that's got to be a good feeling, right?
It is a good feeling because they're so happy to tell you. They're so happy to tell you on the inside when they actually earn that GED. So just to see the light in their eyes where before they felt hopeless, now they realize, you know what? It could be done. I can do this.
And you feel like your social work background now is coming full circle and you're making a difference.
Making a difference, yes.
Yeah, and so what drew you, let's go back even a little further. What drew you into social work? We may have somebody listening to the show, it's like, I'm not really sure what to do, or maybe they're not even sure what social work is. So what drew you to that, and kind of explain what it is?
Well, we actually don't have the title of social work within the Department of Corrections at the facilities that I worked at, and it would actually be a correctional caseworker or case manager. What helped me to do that? Well, I didn't want to be a part of the stigma of we're punishing. I wanted to be a part of we're helping. We're going to help you get back into society, but you have to do your part. So I always had that willing spirit to want to help others as long as they were willing to help themselves.
And you bring up a good point that they want to help themselves. And so is it hard sometimes to convince them that, hey, this is the right path, I'm going to help you? Or do these folks come to you and say, I'm ready to make a change, I want the help?
You know, it all depends on the person. That's what the case plan is for. So we sit down with the person and we develop a case plan. What is your goal? Depending on how long their sentence is, and we help them achieve those goals, and we check back in with them regularly. Check-ins are very good. You know, it gauges where they are, and it's exciting when they come to you before the deadline to say, you know what, I know we're supposed to meet next month, but I've already accomplished this goal. Can I see you at open door? So that's what you're looking for.
Very, very cool. And another thing that you're working on in recruiting is there's a lot of military veterans or people who are active in the military reserves that may be looking for a career. And it's important, you wanted to note that the Department of Corrections certainly respects and thanks them for their service, but also allows them to attend their training and gives them that opportunity.
Absolutely. We actually welcome veterans. We have a similar rank and promotion structure as the military. We welcome their leadership, their experience that they're bringing to the team, and it's a mutual respect that we have. Yeah.
And what type of experience does somebody have to have when they apply for a job? From what I understand, you'll offer all the training that somebody needs.
They don't have to have prior experience. That's the beauty of it. They don't have to. I didn't. And I was a correction officer for 10 months. And then I took the next opportunity to become a training officer. So they gave me all the tools that I needed, and it's continuous learning. It's not, okay, you just go to this one course and you have everything that you need. It's a continual work in progress to keep the tools in your toolbox sharpened.
Yeah, and that's important because, although there are a lot of different jobs within the D.O.C. that does require specialized training,
absolutely,
that training is part of your career. So if you want to move into the next position, the training will be available. Am I correct?
That is absolutely correct.
So that's really, really interesting. Another thing that I've noticed or that we've talked about is hiring retirees, somebody who maybe has retired from another career, but still wants something to either supplement income or just something to keep them busy. And you're looking for those folks as well.
Oh, absolutely. That was one of our next level initiatives. So the beauty of that, hiring returning retirees, they already have the knowledge. So the learning curve is much shorter than someone starting with the Department of Corrections. We are going to maintain and sustain that level of knowledge, and it's wonderful. It helps with succession planning as well.
And there's also different levels of correction officer. Not maybe the position's the same, but the job is different, probably depending on where you are. And so sometimes we watch these shows on TV and we get this idea of what it's like to be a correction officer, but that's not always the case.
Absolutely. It's definitely not always the case. Some things can look sensationalized. Many things, if you refer to being firm, fair, and consistent, it really does make the relationship that you're building with the incarcerated population and alongside with your peers, it's a common level of respect. As long as you come in firm, fair, and consistent and uphold the policy and procedure, you should do just fine.
Yeah, and so, again, we're talking with Natasha Jones from the Indiana Department of Corrections, and she is the recruiting and retention supervisor, and her job is to fill the vacant positions throughout the state of Indiana and find creative ways to do that. And joining the State Police Roadshow is one way to get the word out. One thing that we like to push folks toward is maybe you're not 21 yet, but you want to be an Indiana State Trooper. Maybe after you graduate high school, you're looking for a job to bridge the gap. The Department of Corrections would be a great opportunity not only to start a state job that has benefits
Yes.
right off the bat, but also to bridge the gap into another career if you choose.
It's a perfect opportunity, and I wish more would take advantage of it. We are definitely not shy about asking for people to come work for the Department of Correction.
That's great, and some great benefits with the job. You mentioned $22 an hour for correction officer, but I'm sure there's health insurance, medical, visual, dental, retirement packages. I'm sure it's all there, right?
It's all there, definitely. And we most recently did our, actually signing up for our benefits. So this is a perfect time, is a perfect reminder. When you're looking at your pay stub, it's not just the wage that you're getting to come home. You're actually investing into the Department of Correction, but you're also investing in your family. And it has the breakdown of all the different benefits that we do offer. Definitely medical, dental, vision, and also health savings accounts.
Yeah, all very beneficial. And sometimes as an 18 or 19-year-old looking for a job, you don't quite realize the importance of that until you get later in your life. And then you realize, I wish I would have put more into retirement or more into that. So certainly something to think about when you're looking for a job. What's the website again, Natasha, that people can go to find the open positions?
Sure. It's workforindiana.gov.
Okay. And once they get on that website, is there a specific place that they click?
They can actually either pick the location or they can pick the actual job that they're looking for. So if they pick the location, it will tell all the jobs that are located within that specific location.
Great. Well, I want to thank you very much for joining the State Police Roadshow. That's Natasha Jones from the Indiana Department of Corrections, talking about recruiting and hiring within the D.O.C. Starting wage for correction officer is $22 an hour currently. So if you're looking for a job, you're 18 years old, certainly check that out. I want to thank you for listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. Please visit www.indianatrooper.com to find jobs for ISP. Thank you.